Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Darlene Lobel. This is Dr. LaChelle Wieme, and we are here to help you get freedom from depression. We are going to share with you about healing frequencies for depression, which is amazing. I'm telling you what, this is. This technology is so cool that we're going to share with you. We're going to give you some strategies and even help you understand what is happening in your brain when you are experiencing depression, because it's actually, believe it or not, it's an electrical phenomenon. Okay, it is a frequency-based phenomenon. We'll talk a little bit more about this, but people always think it starts with the chemical shifts, but it does not. It actually starts with the frequency shifts. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So I want to ask you this question. How many days do you find yourself stuck in a state of sadness? Okay. How many days do you find yourself stuck in a state of sadness? Is it often? Is it more days than not? Is it, and think about this question, right? Because sometimes, we all experience sadness from time to time, and we're designed for that. Sadness is not a bad thing in and of itself. Let me be very clear about that. However, when we get stuck and we feel like we can't get out of it, that's where we run into challenges, right? So I want you to think on a typical week, how many days do you find yourself stuck in a state of sadness? Is it, well, you know what, maybe just a couple times a week? For some people, it might be a lot more than that. But be honest with yourself about that. And what are those strategies that you've used to help yourself get unstuck, right? Dr. LaChelle and I are both, in addition to being in the medical field, we're both coaches, right? So we help folks through coaching to get unstuck in a variety of ways. So maybe you have a coach and you've had some help with that before, but I want you to think about that as we're going through this talk, okay? And now I want you to just imagine, what if I told you that there was a way to just wipe away depression, to just wipe it away, just like the ocean waves here, going away, going away, going away. How would that change your life? What would that do for you? What would you be able to achieve, right? If you could just have something to just wipe the depression away, okay? So I want you to understand how big of a problem depression is, okay? One out of five people, 20% of people experienced a major depressive episode in the last year. That's crazy, okay? Major depressive episode means it is lasting for a prolonged period of time. Often, if you're seeing, a therapist, psychiatrist, they will recommend medications to you in this instance, right? If you're going through major depression. But those statistics are crazy. And actually, if you look at the numbers, how much money people spend on therapists, medications, alternative medicine therapies in the treatment of depression, $100 billion. Okay, that's insane. That is insane. This is a huge, huge problem. And if you look at other illnesses, right? So physical, what we would call physical illnesses, cancer, immune system problems, heart disorders, eating disorders, neurological disorders. There is at least a 20% crossover with depression, up to 70% crossover with depression. That means, let's say you might have an eating disorder, there's a 50% chance you're going to be experiencing depression at the same time, which really makes me want to ask the question about the chicken or the egg, right? Okay. Is depression a result of, oh, I'm dealing with this really difficult health condition, or perhaps there's something the other way, right? So someone slips into depression, gets stuck in depression, and it sets up their brain to develop brain pathways related to specific health condition. Okay, so there's not been a whole lot of studies along those lines yet, I will say that, but you have to wonder about that because there is so much crossover. And when you understand, we're going to go through this in just a minute, how much depression is an energetic phenomenon. All sickness and disease, folks, is actually an energetic phenomenon too. Okay. So we have to see what happens. So your brain, we can do this fancy QEEG of your brain and get pictures of your brain when you are experiencing depression. There is a frequency in the brain. I'm going to talk to you about brain frequencies in just a minute. It's called the visioning frequency. It's your alpha frequency. It's one of my favorite brain frequencies. It's the one that is in between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So you can actually kind of float freely between conscious and subconscious when you're experiencing the alpha state. But in depression, this alpha frequency literally gets stuck in a part of the brain. It might get stuck on one side, it might get stuck in the back, but it gets stuck somewhere. And let me tell you what, when that happens, it is extremely hard for you to tap into that vision over your life that you have been given. It is very hard to get into what we call a flow state, right? Where you are receiving wisdom from within or from God, and then you are moving in alignment with that vision. You have one or the other, folks. You're either stuck in the alpha state or you're in an alpha flow state. And so frequency shifts are really the source of and solution to shifting your brain out of depression. Now, I'm going to give you just a little tiny bit of brain science here. Okay. Your brain frequencies vary from very slow frequencies, which are the delta frequencies. These are the frequencies that Dr. LaChelle likes to put people in when she's putting people to sleep before surgery, okay? So it is a very slow frequency. It is a healing frequency, okay? And then as we get a little bit more into a conscious state, this is still subconscious, but we get this theta frequency, and this is also known as a prayer frequency, right? It is a frequency allows you to access wisdom. Often when we're tapping into memories, we jump down into the theta state. The alpha state, like I told you a minute ago, it is this bridge between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. This is where you can connect with that vision over your life, the things that you know you are designed to achieve and accomplish, okay? And then beta frequency, you're designed to be in for a short period of time, and that is where you get things done, right? So you have this vision in alpha, and then you jump into beta temporarily and you get things done. And then gamma is a fun frequency. It's very fast, and it is called your learning frequency. Okay, that is your learning frequency. Alpha is where you get into depression, and it is also where if we can cause a shift, it can get us into that state where we can connect with the vision over our life. Okay, and this is a QEEG, so this is a way to look at the brain with electrodes that we place on the surface of the head, okay? So you don't have to know a whole lot about what is going on here, but this is alpha frequencies studied in healthy patients and then in patients with major depressive disorder, MDD, okay? And they look at them both baseline, when they're asking them to speak, when they're asking them to think about semantics and that sort of thing. And what you can see is this alpha frequency. So red is active. So you can see there's a lot of red kind of scattered throughout the brain in all of these states in a healthy control. You're designed to be in an alpha flow state. Okay, that's what you want to be in. But in major depressive disorder, this is one example. You can see what's going on with the alpha frequency. It's all stuck in the back part of the brain. Why is that even important? Well, you know what's in the front part of the brain? All right, there's many things there. However, your identity, who you are, your goal-directed behaviors are in this frontal cortex, folks. So when you're stuck like this, your brain is preventing you from achieving anything. Okay, it's impossible to achieve anything when you're in a depressed state. Okay, so what we are going to talk to you about tonight is a way to get this unstuck, right? So you can get into this alpha flow state and you can get those things achieved that are on your heart to achieve. All right, so and Dr. LaChelle, I'm going to let you take over here a little bit and kind of talk about frequencies. You do, I think, a great job of explaining that on a very basic level. So if you want to jump in, that'd be great.
Yes. Okay, that sounds great. So some of you guys might be new to this whole frequency situation. Some of you guys might be experts in this for a long time. But essentially what I want to do is point out the fact that everything in our world is made up of building blocks called atoms. You might have learned that in seventh grade science class. So get those cobwebs out, right? But essentially what atoms are tiny little nuclei or nucleus of electrons rotating around it. And that's what you're seeing in this animation, all right? So when you acknowledge that, you realize that the atoms, the building blocks of all matter, are essentially constantly in motion. And that it doesn't matter what it is. It could be the mouse that I'm holding here. It could be, my own body. Everything is made up of atoms that are constantly in motion. I'm going to give you a very basic example of this, okay? I'm in my office. My door is closed. The walls are solid. If somebody would pull into my yard, my dog would start to bark like crazy because she's super protective, and I would hear that bark through the solid walls. Why? Because the sound can travel through them because they are not actually completely solid. It is just a collection of atoms that happen to be in the configuration that create the perception of what I have for the wall. Same thing goes with my glass. I can knock on the glass in the window next to me, but I can still see light coming through it. Why? Because nothing is actually solid. It's made up of moving atoms and electrons all the time that allow for certain things to be able to permeate through it. And when we recognize that, we start to realize that everything in our world is made up of atoms, including our bodies and specifically our minds.
The sound waves from this tuning fork will cause this box to vibrate. When that box vibrates, it makes the tuning fork vibrate. So when I do this, I'm going to hit this tuning fork, but you can still hear it vibrating. A lot of times people think it's the original tuning fork still making noise, but it's the other one.
That's resonance energy, guys. That's when you walk into a room and you're like, oh, something feels off in here. Or you walk into a room and you're like, oh my gosh, where have these people been all my life? That is resonance energy. That is how things, our biofield, other things can impact our energy field. And we can transfer things from one space to another through resonance energy. You guys, many of you probably can relate to, Dr. Darlene and I are, approximately the same age. So we remember listening to Casey Kasem back in the day. I remember sitting in my little bedroom in Minnesota with my mixtape ready to go so that I could record the top 40 countdown. How in the heck was I able to listen to Casey Kasem in LA when I was in my tiny little bedroom in Minnesota? And the answer is simply frequency. I was dialed into the frequency in which to pick up the sound waves that he was sending me from LA.
And then this is, so with this program that we're going to share with you, you can actually create something called a playlist of different frequencies on your phone, on your cell phone. And I actually made you guys a playlist called Joy, which is great, right? So we get rid of depression and replace it with joy. And we are able, actually, right now, we are sending joy frequencies to each and every one of you that are here listening, whether you're listening live or listening on the replay. You are getting to experience those frequencies of joy. And you may wonder how that happens. That sounds crazy, but it's really not. My daughter right now is in Denmark on a school trip, right? She's on an exchange program, but I'm able to pick up my phone. She's able to pick up her phone and we can communicate back and forth. And it's not just a conversation. There's an energy that is shared between that. And you know what I'm talking about, right? If you've been apart from a loved one, right? And then that joy that you experience when you pick up the phone, that transfers. That transfers, even though I don't even know how many miles away Denmark is. It's a long way away from Tampa, Florida, okay? So these frequencies work in very much the same way, which is amazing. So I can send frequencies to you, even though we've got someone here from Australia, right? We have someone here from Alaska. We can send frequencies to you. You can receive them. And what it does is these types of programs will help to bring your frequency into alignment with the ideal frequency that can help you overcome depression, for example, okay? Now, what you'll notice here, and this is very important, in this playlist, there's many things other than just the frequency for depression, right? There's relationship enhancement, there's emotions, right? There's an energetic shield, there's love, forgiveness, and gratitude. So a lot of these folks are designed to help you to get into that alpha flow state. So what you'll see is even as you listen to this particular playlist, not only will it help to elevate your mood, but it will actually help to shift you into that flow state, and your productivity will really go up. I think I'd like to share a little bit of a story with you. I've gone through periods of depression in my life, and I used to pray, God, just take all that away from me. I don't want to ever experience depression again. And this is actually why I know what happens in the brain when you're depressed, because God told me, He said, go study it. Go study what happens in the brain when you're depressed. And I was shocked, right? Because depression, everyone's trying to give you pills, right? And whether they're natural pills or whether they're pharma pills, they're trying to give you pills to shift the chemicals in your brain, right? They teach us in medical school that depression is a chemical phenomenon. Well, it does change your dopamine levels. It does change your serotonin and oxytocin levels, but that's not what happens first. What happens first is that alpha frequency gets stuck, okay? And I learned is that when I would start to feel depressed, that was actually an invitation to me to shift myself into an alpha flow state. And that's where I got the greatest insights about what I needed to do next, right? I got a cue from for that next step that I needed to take, okay? So this program has been amazing for me to, as soon as I recognize any sign of that, I can shift right into that alpha flow state.
And I'm so excited that we get to hear from a really great testimonial from Cherise Williams soon and her
Yes,
experience with that.
that is
So
going to be awesome. So we
yeah.
will bring her up. Well, let me go through a couple of these testimonials from a couple of my clients, and then I think we'll pause the presentation and bring Cherise up, and then we'll come back and tell you more about the technology. Okay?
That. Let's do that.
So, yeah, so this was one of my clients on a coaching call with Dr. Darlene. When she noticed I was feeling down, she played a healing frequency for me that instantly made me feel lighter. Suddenly, I was able to focus on what next steps I needed to take. So good. And I remember this call. It was so cool. It was when I was first starting to use the frequency program. And I'm like, I have this tool. I have this tool and it's going to be great. And so I've been incorporating this both in my group coaching programs and in my one-on-one coaching programs, and it's been amazing. And then this other testimonial says, wow, I've never been able to take control of my feelings so quickly. I felt a shift right away when I play my frequencies. So, all right, well, let me get out of this and stop sharing for a moment, and then we will get Cherise up here to give her testimony, which is amazing. And then we will go back and stay on the call, folks, because we're going to play some of those good frequencies for you to shift you out of depression, okay?
We'll experience it like viscerally in your body. I'm so excited.
Yes, absolutely. Excellent.
All
Hey.
right. So, I wanted to give my testimony of how the AO scanner has helped me. I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder and seasonal affect disorder. So I started the AO scan about, I think, 2 years ago, and it's helped me overcome my seasonal sadness when it's winter. And I just remember the first time that I used it, I felt like floodgates of emotion were pouring through me. It was startling. It was amazing. I actually started sobbing because it was so overwhelming. My background there's been toxic things. I've had things in childhood, but from a previous marriage too, physical and emotional abuse and all that. But what I found is using the AO scanner, it rebalances me, and I feel more at peace. I don't have nightmares like I used to, because I used to have those post-traumatic stress nightmares. Um, I don't have as much, and I feel like it's mostly subsided, um, my trauma or whatever. it's it's been life changing for me. And I'm a Southern California girl, and I moved to Idaho. And when I moved here, I had no idea what I was getting into as far as winter. Holy cow. And so it's really, really helped me with the lack of sunshine factor. I now know that I have control. I have the scanner. I can use the scanner when I'm feeling down, when I'm struggling because of daylight not being around. It's been life changing for me.
And how
I
has it been life changing for you? Like, what shifts have you noticed as far as like your day to day?
like I can get out of bed, honestly. I don't want to start to cry, but I didn't know how difficult it would be having like 9 months of winter compared to, you know, Huntington Beach or whatever. Having sunshine all the time. I had no clue. Nothing bad about Idaho. We have beautiful summers, but the winters can be dark and long.
Mm.
And I know that I now have a tool in my arsenal that I can use to lift my spirits and to focus on improving my mood and my well-being and my balance. It's been incredible. The first time I did it, I knew that I had to have it. And so I'm so grateful to you, LaChelle, for introducing me to this. It's I think it's saved my life, actually. So people that are struggling with depression, you get to the place where you don't want to be around anymore, and this can change that, because this can lift you up. It balances you. And it's beautiful music to listen to. So
It is. That is so, so powerful. Oh my goodness. Um,
Yeah.
Charisse, we had a question. What aspects of this scanner do you use in particular when you are feeling that way, like you're getting this seasonal affective disorder? Like, what is your go-to? Do you have a playlist that you go to, or do you use another part of the scanner to just get that quick shift? What do you use most commonly?
every morning I use the easy scan
Mhm.
so that I can see where I'm at. But my favorite playlist is from Costa Rica. When we went to Costa Rica, I went with LaChelle on a retreat, and I just have this special Costa Rica thing that I listen to, and I actually lay on the AO,
Kind of
uh,
fitting.
yes, and get warm and cozy, and I listen to my Costa Rica sounds, and I just feel like I'm laying out on the beach and listening to the birds and the waves. And I'd be happy to share the Costa Rica playlist that I have
Playlist?
with Steffi. It's awesome.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank
That's
you.
great. Thank you.
Okay. So I have two frequencies that I recorded for you. So these are pre-recorded. These are not live coming to you right now, but you will get the benefit from them. There's power in even listening to that version of it. And again, this is targeted for you guys. Healing frequencies for depression. I made you a target for these frequencies. So all you have to do is just close your eyes and listen. All right, so how are you feeling after listening to that? This is actually one of my favorite frequencies to listen to. It's just, I feel like my frequency is just coming up higher and higher and higher as I listen to that one. So, and it truly is designed to, it's personalized for you too, which is amazing. So this is sent to you all as a group. But when you have access to your own system, it will actually send frequencies ideally for you that help to balance you out as well. And this other frequency we're going to listen to, it is called mood enhancement. And this is actually one that is useful to listen to like this, but also we have these little dots that you can imprint with different frequencies. And the program shows you where to put this on your body. So if you need an extra mood enhancement, like if you're just having, I don't know, Cherise, like having a really great day up there in Idaho, you could imprint mood enhancement into one of these and put it on your wrist and go about your day, and you just have constant frequencies delivered to you. So we're going to listen to that for just a minute. All right. So which one of those frequencies was more hit you more? Okay. It's very different for different people. So what you want to do a lot of times is figure out which of these is more aligned for you. And one thing that you'll notice here, we'll go through this in a minute, but there's a scan button here. So if you don't even know what frequency you need, you can actually go into this program, hit the scan button, and it'll pull up the frequency you need. I love it. There's just so much to this technology, guys. It is, and it's called AO Scan. That's the name of the program. It is an online subscription-based system. If you have a device that connects to the internet, you can have the AO Scan in your hand, okay? It works on a computer, it works on a cell phone, it works on an iPad, okay? It works on anything that connects to the internet, and you access it through a monthly subscription, so there's no long-term commitment with it, and it is very, very affordable for what it is. There is so much to it. We've shared just a little bit of this with you so far. I love that there's literally buttons that you can just go in and push whatever you happen to need at the moment. So if you're feeling depressed, this supercharger, it plays very nice upbeat music along with those frequencies, and it really shifts your mood very quickly. So you can go and click on that supercharger button, okay? It's not hard to figure out, okay? I showed you that scan button that is available as well. And this is powerful as well. I think for anyone dealing with any emotional challenges, the inner voice recording is very, very important. Okay. Your voice is so unique. There is no one else in the entire planet that ever existed or ever will exist that has the same voice as you. And your voice changes based on emotions that you are experiencing or suppressing, actually. Okay. So this technology has a way to capture a 10-second voice clip from you, analyze over 8,000 different frequencies in your voice, and then create a customized, personalized audio file for you to listen to that's going to balance out those frequencies. You know, Charisse mentioned she wept when she first used this program. And I found a lot of times that I run a lot of these inner voice programs for folks initially, and it's like it just releases what's been trapped, right? It releases what's been trapped. The emotions come out, that it releases that painfulness of any trauma you've experienced a lot of time. And it is so incredibly, incredibly powerful.
And what I
So,
love about Dr.
yeah.
Darlene is that oftentimes when we have dealt with depression, and I have also had situational things that have happened to me and I've gone down this road, you're doing all the things. Some of us are in therapy, some of us are, trying to get exercise and sunlight, and we're reading books and we're doing all the things. And we still are not getting where we want to go. And when I started to be able to just listen to music, it allowed me to get further in what I was doing without having to add more work, without having to necessarily do one more thing. I would just listen to music as I was getting ready in the morning, or as I was praying, or as I was whatever. And so when I could do that, it was like it was unlocking and dissolving things in the background that had kept me stuck for all this time. And it doesn't take any more effort on my part. And that was huge.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point, Dr. LaChelle, because, you know, if you're experiencing depression, you don't have a whole lot of energy going, right? I mean, I just talked about where those alpha frequencies are stuck in the brain, so you need easy. You've got to have easy, and you're already, like you said, doing the hard work with therapy. So this is great. Here you go. There's a button you push after you run your scan. It's called Pulse Cycle, and it plays those tones automatically. You don't have to figure anything out, which is fantastic. Okay. It also gives you a report, and it tells you what you might be dealing with from a mindset standpoint. So both Dr. LaChelle and I do a lot of work with mindset and helping people identify them and overcome them. And so it gives you information, right? You can read through these and see if are you happen to be today in a state where you're continually trying to fix others, right? And looking for something, and it gives you a lot of insight. There's some other supportive things in addition to the tones. You can actually purchase these colored glasses with different colored lenses that are related to the note, the frequency that you need at the time. Okay, and you can wear those while you're listening to them. And then you have the multi-sensory benefit, right? From the visual stimulus and the auditory stimulus. So it will also, I love this. I talked about in the beginning how depression has crossover, right, with a lot of physical conditions, okay? So what you also get with this technology is the ability to scan all of your body systems. So this system is programmed with the ideal frequencies, which are culled from, I think, over 250,000 different people with ideal frequencies, okay? And so it knows the ideal frequency of, I'm going to be general here, but the brain. Let's just say the brain, okay? And it can scan and see what your brain frequency is, right? And then deliver tones to help bring that into an ideal state, because yours might be a little low, it might be a little high for that organ system, and it'll bring it into that ideal state. So you can actually scan. It's so cool. It's like, you know, I do all these MRI scans, CAT scans on people, right? And here you go. Now you can have an online system where you can get a lot of information as you see repeated patterns over and over again to know, even, is this something that's just kind of a symptom passing through? Or is this something that might be going on with your body? So I love having that information on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that's really kind of a cool thing to acknowledge is that I run scans for people regularly on, a weekly basis for them, or a monthly basis for them, or hey, I want to try this out and I'll run a scan for you. And those are amazing. And there's no harm in energy medicine, which is so great that there's nothing that can be harmful to you. And when I have access to my own software, I can run this stuff every single day on myself. I can run it as often as I need to. I can get real-time data based on my energetic levels at the exact time I'm running this. And I think that that's been so powerful for me because I'm getting that real-time feedback as often as I want to.
That's so good. That is so good. I love it. All right, so let's talk about the subscription. And we'll bring you guys up to ask questions momentarily. So this subscription, it's $149 a month, and the company has committed to not raise that price. Okay, they keep adding additional things and availability into the scanner, and they do not raise the price, okay, which is great. And you can run unlimited scans on it. You can run scans on your family members. So you don't need, if you've got a big family, you just need one subscription if they're all in the same house, right? And you can run scans on them. There's even a way to run scans on everyone in the house at the same time now, which is very, very cool, right? Deliver frequencies to everyone in your house at the same time. You can run that from one subscription. If you're a coach or a healthcare provider and you have clients or patients, you can have an unlimited number of scans on your clients and patients every single month for that 149. That's really incredible, right? And again, there's no minimum commitment required. You can try it out for a month and see how it is for you, okay? So, what we want you to do, if someone invited you to listen to this, we want you to connect back with them. If it was me, reach out to me. If it was Dr. LaChelle, reach out to her. If it was somebody else, then please reach out to them and we will help you, or they will help you to get access to your own AO scanner subscription so you can try that out for yourself. And then as a little incentive bonus for you guys, we have the Joy playlist that we are going to have my favorite composer, who is Sean Donahue. He is going to take this and one of his original works of music, which is Champions Arise. I absolutely love this one. It is so empowering to listen to. And he's going to overlay the frequencies onto that. And so if you sign up within 72 hours of watching this, then we will actually gift that to you if you get your own subscription. So that's a little added incentive bonus for you. Okay. Whoever invited you to this, just reach out to them. Then we can help you get started with your subscription. So thank you all for being here tonight. It's a pleasure as always, and we'll see you soon. Take care.